Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are NC.
For more than 8 innings last night, Willie Bloomquist was on the bench. But in the bottom of the 9th inning, he stole third base with 1 out and scored the game-winning run on a wild pitch with 2 outs. And that evened the series with the Rangers. Game 3 is next on Fox Sports, Kansas City. Two weeks ago, Brian Bullington dazzled the first-place New York Yankees with 8 shutout innings, and he picked up his first Major League win. But he's had 2 rough starts since then. He'll go up against another first-place team tonight, the Texas Rangers. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. And Brian Bullington will be pitching to Brian Pena. It'll be the first time all year that Brian Pena will start back-to-back games as catcher. That's big news around here. But then we find out that Jason Kendall has a serious shoulder injury.
Well, he really does, Ryan. This injury is going to keep him out quite a while. And everybody talked about Jason's toughness. He's had this injury since before the All-Star break, and he's really been trying to play through it. You look at his throwing. His throws are starting to run down the line just a little bit. So that's an idea of just how tough this guy really was to play through this injury.
He's in Los Angeles seeing a specialist, and the Royals expect that he will have surgery on his shoulder on Friday. We've been talking a lot lately about opportunities for young players. Not the way the Royals wanted it to happen, but it's a big opportunity for Brian Pena.
It really is, Ryan. Brian Pena is going to get an opportunity to play a little bit more here in September and give an idea of really see if he can regain that stroke that he had last year. And also our new guy, Lucas May, will also get an opportunity to play. And this is his first time in the big leagues. I remember my first time. You're very excited. You got to key yourself down, and I'm sure he's very happy to be here.
Our pitching matchup tonight, it's Tommy Hunter for the Rangers. The Royals haven't seen him yet. He's 11-2. And going up against Brian Bullington, he's never faced the Rangers before. We'll talk more pitching when we come back. By Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by the Missouri Lottery. All right, Frank, let's take a look at the key report for Brian Bullington, and let's look back at his winning start against the New York Yankees.
Well, against the Yankees, you can see where Brian Bullington did a good job moving the ball on both sides of the plate and had a real tough slider. His last two outings, he hasn't had that command on both sides of the plate, and that slider has been a little flat. So tonight we're going to look for two things: fastball both sides of the plate and the depth of his slider.
And here's the Rangers lineup that he will face, presented by M&I Bank. And the Rangers hit 4 home runs against the Royals last night. Royals ended up winning the game. They got Ian Kinsler back from the disabled list today. He's been out with a groin injury, but Ron Washington is going to stay with the former Royal Andres Blanco at second base. And the Royals will be looking at right-hander Tommy Hunter for the first time.
Well, Ryan, Tommy Hunter's going to be bringing a good curveball and a good fastball, good command to this game tonight. 11-2 on this season, but he's also benefited from generous run support.
8 of the 9 Royals have never faced Tommy Hunter. The one has is one of the Royals' hottest hitters at the moment, Wilson Bedemy. He has 2 at-bats against Hunter with 1 hit and a double. It's Game 3 with the Royals and the Rangers, and the first pitch is next. Brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. A lot of rain last night, and that carried into today and into the afternoon, so everyone's lawn got some moisture. The temperature goes down, so it's a comfortable night at Kauffman Stadium. And let's go down to the field and visit with Joel Goldberg, who probably for the first time in a long time feels nice and comfortable outside.
Oh, yeah, this feels really good if the rain will stay away, Ryan. Also feels really good for Brian Pena, and of course, he did not want to see an injury to Jason Kendall, but he's going to benefit on the playing time. Said he's been working a lot with Kevin Seitzer, and of course, there's nothing that can replace the real at-bats. But really the guy that he's learned the most from, he says, is Jason Kendall. He said he used to come into the park every single day, and he would prepare and he'd look at video, but he never really knew what he was looking at. Now he understands how to study opposing pitchers, how to study opposing hitters, get a game plan together, talk with his pitchers. He learned all that from Jason Kendall. The man he's replacing, he said, has changed the way he goes about preparing. Guys?
All right, thank you, Joel. Well, it was cause for a double take when we got here last night and saw that Brian was in the starting lineup, because he had been playing in the day games after the night games, not starting the evening games. And then certainly a much longer double take tonight to see him in back-to-back games, and then to find out that Jason has wrecked his shoulder.
It was nice to really see him put together 2 at-bats last night too, Ryan, where he just stayed behind the ball and hit line drives to right field, and it shows that the work that he has been putting in with Kevin Seitzer maybe is just starting to pay off.
3 balls and 1 strike to Elvis Andrus. Andrus last night with a 3-hit game and scored 3 runs, and he has 5 hits in the series. Very close pitch, but it's inside, and he opens the game with a walk. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCA. We started right on time at 7:10 with a very comfortable 75 degrees. So just a little hint of the fall today. A strike to Michael Young. And Michael Young had 4 hits in last night's game, so he's 5 out of 9 in the series. And in the first inning last night, hit a home run to left field off of Sean O'Sullivan, which ended up being the first of 4 home runs for the Rangers. But it wasn't as painful to the Royals as you would expect, because 3 out of the 4 were solo home runs. Had a play off to the right field side. No balls and 2 strikes. Michael Young also hit his 31st double last night, and we talked about the string of 30 double seasons that he has, 8 in a row. Only Albert Pujols has a streak that long among current players. Trying to get to the postseason for the first time in his career. And Joel was telling us in game 1 of the series that there are only 3 players in the game right now that have played more games than Michael Young and have not gone to the postseason.
Well, we had talked about only 2 guys being on their team that have World Series right now. That's Benjamin Molina and Alex Cora, the only 2 guys. So, you know, they can go to those guys and they can say, what is it like? And these guys can be their encouragement in this last month, this big push to the end and on into the playoffs.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Michael Young has won a batting title. Did that in 2005. He has a streak of 200 hits in 5 straight years. That ended a few years ago. He has the most hits in Texas Rangers history, but he has never played in the postseason.
He gets good plate coverage with his swing. He can go the other way on fastballs away, and just not an easy guy to fool at the plate. And when you can use the ball, when you get the ball where it's pitched, that's where all those hits come from. You get a lot of hits to right center field.
This will be the first time that Brian Bullington has faced the Rangers. Brian took a loss on Friday at Cleveland, and the Royals' most painful loss on the last road trip ended up being a 15-4 Indians win. And the Indians ended up hitting 3 different 3-run home runs in the game. The first off of Bullington. Gave up 7 runs in 4 innings. Andrews is running, a strikeout, and no double play. Mike Aviles thought he tagged him on the helmet before Andrews got to the bag. Second base umpire Mike Riley says no. We'll take another look.
But when you catch that ball down the line like that, you always have it. You always have a chance to tag a guy before he get his feet on the bag, and that's a good call by Mike to point out the fact that he did make that tag. Yeah, that's the frustration right there. I mean, if you're going to get off a quick throw and it's going to run a little bit down the line, if you get down the line, you know, like we showed in Cleveland, if you go down the line straight and catch that ball when it's first starting to run down the line, now you got a chance to catch and tag at the same time. Where Mike got in trouble in Detroit, I believe, was he got the arm too far into the base runner's path and he got his glove kicked off of his arm.
Well, a good play by Aviles, as you pointed out, and it's Mike Riley's job to make the right call, and umpires are paid to do that, but it's a much easier call for the umpire when the throw is on the bag, and Mike Riley doesn't have to have one eye on the tag and the other eye on Andrews' foot.
Well, that's true, and I'll tell you what, when the tag is made, he may be standing right behind Mike and never see the tag actually being made. So what he sees, the arm just comes around following the runner, and he's already on the base.
Mike Riley is the crew chief. One and two on David Murphy, who bats third. Josh Hamilton is out. We told you last night that Josh Hamilton was going to have an injection on his right knee, so he's available as a pinch hitter tonight.
Well, we'll take a look at Mike Riley's head right here. Now you see where Mike's got the glove, ball in the glove. Now it seems like he's looking right at Mike at that particular time. But I think when the actual tag is made, he never sees this tag made, and all he sees is the foot on the base and Mike trailing the runner with his glove.
Shallow center field, and Blanco sprints in, but it drops in front of him. Blanco did a pretty good job of convincing everyone that he was going to make the catch, and Andrews is only able to move up to third base on the bloop single.
Well, let's take a look at Blanco in center field. He got a good jump on it. He's coming in on it pretty good. You know, most times they'll stick that glove up and try to deke the runner that way, but he just didn't have enough speed. That ball seemed like it came back to the infield a little bit.
So first and third for Vladimir Guerrero, who hit a long home run last night, drove in 3 runs, and has driven in 15 against the Royals this year. And like he did all night last night, fouls away the first pitch. Perhaps the biggest out the Royals recorded last night was against Guerrero with the bases loaded in the 8th. And in that at-bat, I don't think I can ever remember before last night seeing him stand at the plate like a statue and just take a pitch with no intention of swinging. And it might have been the best pitch that he saw in that at-bat. And on the very next pitch, hit a weak ground ball to second base.
All right, and the pitch that he took was following a pitch like this one he just got from Bulletin, and way in off the plate, and then he just stood there and took the next pitch, thinking it may run in on him too, but he threw a 4-seam fastball that was just straight.
Got him to chase a slider down and away. And that's the key pitch for Brian Bullington. When that pitch is on, he is on. And when he is getting underneath that pitch and he doesn't have the good break, that's when he gets into trouble. And was hurt by a hanging slider against the Indians in his last start.
One thing that Bob McClure, when I talked to him this afternoon, he wanted to pay attention to with Brian Bullington was being able to get the ball to the other side of the plate. And it started against Cleveland, nothing went to the other side of the plate. His changeup, his slider, or his fastball. And he got one-sided, and that's a mechanical thing that happens to him, and that's what got him in trouble.
Foul ball. Vladimir Guerrero makes the list, but he's still alive at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He ran that one in on his hands seriously. And then, he's a free swing. He tries to pull him in, But this ball was up around the waist, and you could see him smiling before the ball even came off his bat. He knew that was a serious jam shot. And watch his face here, Ryan. The ball's running in on his hands, and he's almost like, I can't believe I swung at this pitch. Have you ever seen that before? I've never seen that before.
A hitter actually smile at the pitcher. Murphy runs from first. Guerrero strikes out, so he was not seeing Bullington well at all. And the Rangers have their second stolen base in the inning. There are 2 outs with runners at second and third.
You know, what Brian did effectively there was he ran the ball well in off the plate. Then the slider is actually breaking better tonight, Ryan, than his last start. And he was able to get the ball away from him. So it's just an outstanding pitch right here.
Ball 1 to Nelson Cruz. Cruz doubled in his first at-bat on Monday. His first at-bat since coming back from the disabled list. But he is 0 for 8 since. He has Andrus at third base, Murphy at second. Just below the knees, 2 balls and no strikes. Nelson Cruz going with no batting gloves. Very few hitters in the game today will go with that. We just saw one of the rare ones in the last at-bat, Vladimir Guerrero. He's been doing that forever. And Nelson Cruz has been very late on the fastball in this series.
Yeah, I thought it might be the fact that facing O'Sullivan, he'd be sitting on his changeup, but it looks like tonight he's late on fast. Best of fastball up.
3-1.
Brian's done a real good job getting the ball to the other side with some sink on it, and it seems like mechanically he's in line right now, and because he's pitching both sides of the plate really well. His fastball got a good run on it, and he's working both sides of the plate.
Pena set up outside, and that hit the middle of the plate, and it's going to cost the Royals a couple of runs. So it wasn't hard hit, but Bullington missed the spot, and Cruz drives in 2.
Well, he looked slow on the ball up, Brian. When the ball's down, he's a little quicker. You see Brian's really off the plate. He wants that backdoor sinker to catch the outside corner, but you see how far across the plate that sinker ran back right into Nelson Cruz's bat, and he was able to beat it in the ground and then get it by Wilson Bettamy at third base for a base hit to left field. You see Murphy scores, and Andrus scores on that base hit.
So in all 3 games of the series, the Rangers have scored first. And we were talking last night about how the Rangers have really dominated the season series and have done so by doing a lot of their scoring early in the game. They have outscored the Royals in the first 3 innings of this season series, 24-11. Bullington has used 30 pitches in the inning. And Mitch Moreland rolls it over to Mike Aviles, and the inning comes to an end with 31 pitches and 2 runs for the Rangers. starts for the first time in the series. He's in right field. And now the Kia report on right-hander Tommy Hunter.
Well, one thing they like about him, Ryan, is the fact that he's around the plate. He challenges the strike zone. He's 11-2, but he also gets a lot of run support, averaging 8 runs per start. And that's a good way to go into a ball game every night. But the biggest thing with him they like about him is that he's just a real gutty guy around the plate. 4 good pitches that he throws.
A strike to Gregor Blanco. Gregor had a very good road trip through Detroit and Cleveland, but so far in this series, just 1 out of 8. He has scored a run and tied up with a fastball inside, and Hunter throws a strike at about 92 miles an hour over to first base for out number 1.
There's no lob in this game.
Wow. This guy means business.
Well, if you're going to throw it over there, you might as well throw it there like you throw it to the plate. A lot of pitchers will let up, and this ball down the right field line.
And outside to Mike Aviles. 2 hits and 7 at-bats. He has scored a run, and he has driven in a run. Line to right field, but Cruz fades back and makes the catch. 4 pitches, 2 down. A little background on Tommy Hunter. Rangers took him in the first round in 2007. He was a sandwich pick, that supplemental round in between the first and second round. They got him out of the University of Alabama. And he's a big guy, listed at 265. But very athletic, fields his position well. A comparison that has been made to Tommy Hunter would be Joe Blanton, who used to pitch for the A's and now pitches for the Phillies. Joe Blanton coming from the A's organization. So those pitchers out of that system known for throwing strikes, challenging the hitters, and Hunter is right along those lines as far as comparing him to Blanton. Betemit has 2 hits, and he has scored twice in the series. Led off the bottom of the 9th with a double last night, and Willie Bloomquist running for him, stole third, and then came home with the winning run on a wild pitch.
We talk about Tommy Hunter and the generous run support he gets, but he doesn't give up many runs. I mean, when you look at his numbers, he's only allowed 3 runs or less in 13 of 16 starts. And in 9 of those, he's only allowed 2. So he gets the run support, but yet he pitches his game. He doesn't rely on the fact that he's got all those runs on the board.
Almost hit Betemit on the foot. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Busted bat, and it's a 9-pitch inning for Hunter, who was working with a 2-0 lead. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network, AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Panera Bread, explore a menu of hearty soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. 2-0 Rangers on a Nelson Cruz 2-out, 2-run single. And Brian Bullington needed 31 pitches to get through the first. 1 ball and 1 strike against Benji Molina. He started on Monday and was 2 out of 4. And then Matt Trainer was behind the plate last night. Trainer was 1 out of 5. Cole DeMedamede, who has all night to throw to first base. 1 away. And now the former Royal, Andres Blanco. On Monday, Blanco was just a home run shy of hitting for the cycle, and he just missed a home run on a double to right field. So 3 hits in game 1 and 1 for 4 last night. Rangers had the option of putting Ian Kinsler at second base, who is just back from the disabled list, but Ron Washington decided to stick with Blanco. One and one.
A lot of times the guys come back from injury rehab, and a lot of times that first game they'll let them kind of get on the field, take ground balls, see where they are, and get them acclimated and get them in the game the following day. But I know Ian Kinsler probably would love to be in this game as well as he plays against the Royals. So he's probably sitting over there saying, I think I can play. but you know, I think they got plenty of time, and they plan well, and it's no sense to rush him.
And it's September 1st. So just because he's back with the Rangers doesn't necessarily mean that he is ready to go. You can expand the rosters, and you don't have to take someone off to bring Kinsler back with the club.
Right.
Julio Borbon. This will be his first plate appearance of the series. He has appeared on defense, and he hits that on the ground to Aviles. So Bullington trying to match Hunter from the first. He needs only 8 pitches. Two 2-0 Rangers to the bottom of the second inning. And tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. September the 1st tonight, so who had the best August? Now, the Royals will ask the media to vote on the player of the month and the pitcher of the month. But if you had to give it to one, who had the best August? Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. And then A for Unievsky Betancourt, B for Wilson Betemit, C for Bruce Chen, or D for Joaquim Soria. One and one to Billy Butler.
Oh, great choices there.
Two balls and one strike.
Yeah, that you call it, it'd be hard pressed. I mean, whoever you picked in that list, you would say, no way. I mean, you wouldn't have a problem with it, you know, because all four of those guys had great months of August.
And from an offensive standpoint, not only did Betemit and Betancourt put up good numbers, but they had some big hits. Some game-winning hits, some game-tying hits late in the game. Sometimes those numbers will be impressive, but they're empty numbers.
You're right about that. You look at like a football game, and you got all those guys who grind it out for 8 innings, and then you look at Joaquim Soria, who comes in and kicks the field goal and gets it all done. He makes all that work that you put in all night. He makes it worth it when he comes in and gets that save at the end of the day.
Billy walks to lead off the second inning. And that doesn't happen very often with Tommy Hunter. That's just his 24th walk of the year. Back to you call it. And 50% to 36%. Joaquim Soria over Unievsky Betancourt so far. Ball one to Keela. 0 for 5 last night, but scored a run and drove in a run. And batted 5th last night. But Billy Butler and Wilson Betemit have flip-flopped. There's a curveball in for a strike, 1-1. Billy hitting 4th, Betemit hitting 3rd. Fouled away, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Trying to get an idea of Keela's swing. Usually that borderline fastball that he chases a lot of times, that's usually the ball he fouls off. When you get it down a little bit, he seems to hit that ball a lot harder. And you see so many balls fouled off that are about belt high when he kind of needs to work harder to get the ball down lower in the zone.
Got a hanging breaking ball and hit it right past Hunter and out into center field. So 2 on and nobody out in the bottom of the second.
Right, take a look at the location of this curveball when this get hit. Now that's the area that I think Keela really does his best work. When he keeps up the strike, the high end of the low strike zone is where he's much better. He stays back, he lets the ball come down, and then he hits the square in the center field. He gets up a little bit, then that's the one he tries to hit, and he calls it off. Every now and then he'll catch it just right and drive it in the left center field. But I think he should work harder to keep the ball down in the zone, because I think that's where his bat speed does his work.
And at this level, the league will figure that out very quickly. So 2 on for Uni. Uni took full advantage of the wind last night and hit a home run just inside the right field foul pole. A ball that he thought, we thought, and everyone else thought for a while was going to be a foul ball, but the wind, which is blowing in the same direction tonight as it was last night, blowing it from the right side of the foul pole to the left side. about laying one down, and the count is 0-2.
Well, I've got one rule of thumb about that, Ryan. Why go to 2 strikes on a bunt attempt and don't try to bunt the ball? You know, to me, that's like giving a pitch away. And Uni's like one of those throwback guys. He's never seen this guy. He goes, first pitch, I'm swinging. So you can gauge speed from the on-deck circle if you really try hard enough. But you never want to go to 2 strikes on a bunt without trying to actually bunt the ball.
You're not going to bring the infield in because you're not going to bunt now with 2 strikes. A rarity for Uni last night. He had 2 walks in the same game. Everyone forgot about the second walk, but he actually took ball 4 when the pitch got away from Matt Trainer and allowed Willie Bloomquist to score from third. And now Uni evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we stay at 2 balls, 2 strikes. The first 8,000 kids age 14 and under coming out to the ballpark on Sunday, September the 19th will receive custom Royals silly bands. That's the Royals and the Cleveland Indians. It's the hottest item of the school year. So parents, you're going to want to get your tickets right now at Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. Hit hard to right field. Nelson Cruz is back and runs it down. Butler tags and will move up to third base. So first and third and 1 away.
The Uni stayed on this fastball really well, Ryan. He this curveball really well, and he just hit it the way you should hit it. He really drove it to right field. Nelson Cruz had to go a long way back to make this catch. Billy had a chance to go back, re-tag, and then go over to third base.
And that brings up Alex Gordon. Alex with 2 hits and 3 driven in last night. Broke his bat, 1 hop to Blanco. Out at second, and the Rangers turn a double play to get out of a first and third and 1 out. Here in the booth, and Mizzou fans will remember Corby Jones, all Big 12 quarterback, and now in our business, and going to be getting ready for the Big 12 season. It doesn't seem right for us, I don't know how Frank feels, but I can't get into football until I'm on my couch and the baseball season is over. But for you, you're getting ready.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting stoked, guys. I mean, it's a great opportunity and always fun to start the football season off.
Outstanding. Well, I'm going to just go. What do you think about the K-State-Kansas game? I mean, those two schools.
The K-State-Kansas game, I mean, this year is going to be something different with Turner Gill at Kansas. Coming from Buffalo, Turner's done great things in the Big 8 conference and the Big 12 conference when he was at Nebraska, coaching and playing. And he's going to bring a new style of football to those guys at KU. So I'm interested to see how they play.
And having Bill Snyder back at K-State.
Oh yeah. That's always a constant. He's always been a winner. He's been a winner as of late. But I mean, guys, I got to look at Missouri, Illinois coming up this weekend.
Frank kind of threw you a curveball.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
you thought we were going to go MU Illinois right off the bat, huh?
Of course.
Well, when is the K-State KU game?
The K-State KU game is a Thursday night game, late October.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly.
We're talking about Frank.
I'm talking about that, but the Missouri Illinois game. I watch that game every year. In basketball and in football.
Oh, that's a tremendous football game. It's a good basketball game too. But I mean, Frank keeps throwing me, keeps changing sports.
What do you think about the Syracuse Pitt game?
Exactly. No, guys, I'm telling you, 11:30 on Saturday morning. This is going to be a game, and we got it here on Fox Sports Net. And I mean, that's going to be amazing. I mean, to see Nathan Shieldhouse, a Kansas City product, Rockhurst kid, come out and play some football for the first time at a college level, and see Blaine Gabbert, the star quarterback at Missouri, just continue what he's the precedent he set last year.
Here's the lineup that's coming up on Saturday. And did you ever think in the few months when everything was uncertain that there was a chance that eventually this MU-Illinois game was going to be an in-conference game down the road?
Oh, yeah.
Did you think it was going to happen?
I was afraid, but there was always talk that this game was going to go away after this season anyway. So then it was going to be an in-conference game, and it was going to be a game that couldn't go away.
Michael Young lines out to left field, one away. We're chatting with Corby Jones, a former MU quarterback, who's going to be broadcasting in studio for the Big 12. How's the transition gone for you from on the field to in front of the camera?
Oh, it's a change. I mean, went from on the field to being an attorney to on the camera. So I mean, it's a different experience altogether. But I mean, it's a fun time. It's good. It's good to do.
Take it from me. It's a change.
I know.
October 14th, we know now, is the K-State KU game. So it's about a month and a half away. But we've got it broken down already.
Well, I got money at KU, so I just, my son went there, so it's one of the things I always got to know about that game.
I'll tell you what, you need to look at the KU Missouri game. Though that's a game that's
always
that's going to be a fight. That's going to be a fight. But I'll tell you what, guys, the Big 12 season actually kicks off tomorrow. Is Fox Sports game is the Northern Illinois versus Iowa State game. That's going to be a great football game also. So kicking off into not quite into pro football, but college football. FSN, FS Kansas City, FS Midwest, and FS Southwest are places to watch it.
Who do you like in the North?
Guys, I gotta like Missouri. I mean, my blood tells me I gotta like Missouri, but Nebraska's going to be a tremendous football team. They got a lot going on with the quarterback position right now. They still have a 3-person race. They're not naming their starter yet. The freshman Taylor Martinez, the kid that's mobile. They say he's an Eric Crouch type athlete. Yeah, Tommy Frazier, Eric Crouch guy, and they really don't want to play him. He's a redshirt freshman, but I think he's going to give them no choice but to play him.
Now, we don't need to get into specifics, but unfortunately there was some off-the-field news out of Columbia over the past couple of weeks, so give some Tiger fans some hope that maybe they're going to be able to get through all of this.
They've always played a running back by committee type deal.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think the guys are ready to step it up. Plus, you've also got, you got a great leader in Blaine Gabbert that can really do some things athletically and just sitting back in the pocket throwing the football. I think he's going to give them a lot of chances. They've got receivers, Jackson, Mo, Kemp, and those guys are going to show up to play. Every year there's a receiver that steps up that no one expected to. Last year it was Kemp. The year before it was Alexander. And 2 years before it was Macklin. The guys that nobody really knew about. We knew that they had some potential, but they've really stepped up and done the job.
What do you think about this notion of, can Turner Gill get the job done, not because of a lack of football knowledge? We know he's a good football man, obviously, but this nice guy approach, which has been questioned, can you get that done in a major conference like the Big 12?
I mean, I think it's from the nice guy, Christian approach. I think you got to look back to Bill McCartney at Colorado, won national championships being a nice guy. And so, I mean, I think it can definitely be done. That's the man he is, and you have to respect and appreciate anybody who shows up every day on and off the field and is the same person. And he doesn't try to be something he's not, and doesn't try to sell something that he's not. And I think that's going to gain the respect of his players and the community.
It's going to be a shock for the kids that are used to Mark Mangino for all those years at KU, that when they start getting into the game situation and the tone is a little lighter than it has been.
Completely different style, yeah.
Yeah. Now, did you play for Larry Smith?
Larry Smith,
Now,
yes.
I want to ask you that because his son Corby, ironically, who you probably know, he and I went to high school together in Los
kidding.
Angeles.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
And so
That's wild.
the Smith family, very close with them, and Corby, I know, was getting into coaching at that time. Can you stick around for another half inning?
I sure can.
2-0 Rangers to the bottom of the third.
You got a chance to play a little baseball, too, didn't you?
That's what I want to get into. Coached men's and women's soccer in Kansas City for more than 10 years while teaching Spanish at North Kansas City High School. And furthermore, Monica, as Brian Pena lays down a bunt, and he's on with a hit. But we're not done with Monica. Monica is president of the Northland Diversity Council, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to understanding and diversity, and enjoying the game, enjoying that bunt from Brian Pena from the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat, as we visit with Corby Jones up here in the broadcast booth. And let's take another look at the catcher, Brian Pena, dropping down a bunt.
Well, this is strictly a surprise here. They get Young playing deep at third base, and Brian takes advantage of it and gets a bunt down.
Well, we wanted Corby to stick around. We've been getting after him about Big 12 football, and Frank really testing him right off the bat.
They tested me.
Woo.
So, no,
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, I like testing my scope though.
But no one. But when we came on, no one said, "Hey, let's try with Missouri, Illinois." They just say, "Hey, I want to find out about Kansas State." It's all in the Big 12 for me. Well, at least you know we don't rehearse. We don't rehearse these questions when they come up. But.
Well, and the thing about it too, Corby, is that for whatever reason, when we have a guest up in the booth, it's always like a 5 or 6 pitch inning. So Frank didn't want to do the small talk, get into it. I mean, let's just get right to it because we didn't know how long we were going to have you.
He needs to know.
You always ask the questions that concerns you. You never want to let a guest get away without getting your question in.
At least we know where his heart is.
I don't know if Corby remembers this, but he and I played in a charity football game together when 810 WHB here in Kansas City had that charity game right around Thanksgiving. And, of course, he was one of the celebrity quarterbacks. I was a wide receiver on one play. And I never played past high school in football, but he threw a pass to me downfield in warm-ups that I swear went over the moon. I've never seen a ball thrown that far and thrown that high. And what it did was it gave me a great appreciation for college and NFL receivers that are making plays downfield 50 or 60 or 70 yards, trying to keep an eye on that little tiny thing coming through the sky, especially at night. So every time I think of you, I think about, oh my. But I brought up Larry Smith for a personal reason, obviously, because his son, also named Corby, and I played high school baseball together in addition to him playing football. But Larry Smith is a reason perhaps that you weren't a two-sport athlete at MU, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, I was actually on the team for the baseball team my sophomore and junior year. But ironically enough, I could make it through a football season, but I couldn't make it through a baseball season healthy. So I got hurt at the beginning of the baseball season my sophomore year and my junior year. Coach Smith said, he kind of put the kibosh on that, said we're not doing that anymore.
Now, watching you run around in the MU backfield, I'm guessing that you had to be an outfielder.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you could contain you at an infield position, could they?
No, actually, honestly, I didn't like fielding ground balls. I just wasn't really into it, but I love tracking balls down. I mean, I'd sit there in center and just wait for the ball to go up and then go find it.
2 strikes on Blanco, and going to lay one down anyway with 2 strikes. And Hunter throws him out, so runners at second and third and 1 away with the Royals down 2-0. Well, in addition to doing some television work with the Big 12, what else keeps you busy after life at Columbia?
Well, my day job, as I'm an attorney with Armstrong Teasdale, the Kansas City office here. I do business litigation. I do primarily insurance defense work. Okay. So that's what pays the bills, and I just try to be like you guys on the weekends.
Do you miss Saturdays? There's something about football, whether I think guys played in high school or college, that as opposed to other sports, when that certain day of the week comes around, does your blood get boiling? I mean, as Aviles goes to right center field, the Royals are going to get on the scoreboard. Brian Pena's one single turns into a sacrifice fly. Is it enough to be commentating about the game, or do you miss the marching band and all the adrenaline on a Saturday afternoon?
Oh, you miss the song, you miss the pregame warm-ups, you miss all that stuff. And all that stuff, every time you hear it, it reminds you of when you were there. And so Saturday mornings, you wake up and I'm ready to play. The problem is, Monday through Friday, practice-wise, no dice. I'm not trying to do all that.
It seems like with baseball players and other sports, when their career comes to an end, whether they wanted it to or not, they're about ready for it to be over. But football guys, it's just the different mentality of that whole routine of the week and the hype for that one game a week. That's all you have, that one game a week, as opposed to, we're doing this every single day of the week.
Yep. I mean, that's one thing I do miss. I mean, playing, even my last baseball I really played competitively was Legion ball before I went into fall camp for football in college, and I miss being able to go out there and actually screw up and then come back and make up for it the next day and not have to wait 7 days to fix it.
Well, I think the big thing you point out, Ryan, is not the game you miss. It's the preparation to get ready to play the game. All the practices and spring training for us. That would be the hard thing to go through again. I think that's the thing I don't miss is spring training.
Of course.
And college football on Fox Sports Kansas City kicks off on Saturday. The Illinois MU game at 11:30. Big 12 kickoff live begins at 11. You have any kind of a prediction for what's going to happen on Saturday?
For the Missouri game, you know my prediction. Now, I really think that Alden Smith and Jacquez Smith, the defensive ends from Missouri, are going to get up the field and get to Shieldhouse early and put a little pressure on them and make them start scrambling, make them get happy feet in the pocket, and I think Missouri's going to run away with it offensively. And
if you can't wait till Saturday, we're actually going to have football coverage beginning tomorrow night with Iowa State and Northern Illinois. The Royals have scored a run and now have 2 on, 2 out after Bedamede walks against Tommy Hunter.
A Northern Illinois-Iowa State game may be a little more interesting than people think it's going to be. Northern Illinois is a team that nobody really knows about, but they're actually picked to win the MAC conference this year. So having that and combined with their defense being as strong as they are, they had the number 1 defense in the MAC last year. Iowa State returns their starting quarterback and starting running back, maybe arguably the best running back in the Big 12, Alexander Robinson. So, I mean, there could be some matchup issues, but don't be shocked if Northern Illinois surprises Iowa State.
Is there a team in the Big 12 that impresses you that maybe people aren't talking about?
I think people have taken notice of Gerard Johnson and Texas A&M, but I think defensively they're going to be stronger this year, and so I think that's a sleeper team. And Baylor's a sleeper team. You can't bet against Robert Griffin III. I mean, all-conference, I guess all-American track athlete, and he's a tremendous athlete playing quarterback. And they've got some support around him this year, so they can really do some things.
I like that name.
Very distinguished.
Yes.
Billy Butler now with Meyer at second base, Bedamede at first. Billy walked his first time up, and the Royals had a scoring threat in the second inning, first and third and 1 out, but Tommy Hunter was able to get Alex Gordon to ground into a double play. One ball, 2 strikes. You think much will be missed in a couple of years when Nebraska and Colorado have ditched the league?
I think you're going to miss Nebraska without a doubt. Colorado's kind of you're going to miss them. If you look back to the 90s, the late 80s, the early 90s teams, those are some great football teams. But Colorado kind of recruits from a different area. They kind of recruit that West Coast a little harder than the rest of the teams in the league. So they were kind of an outsider to begin with. I mean, granted, they're very much a part of the old Big 8 and the Big 12, but they were kind of on the periphery to begin with as far as recruiting goes and the type of athletes that they usually got and from where their athletes came. So I think you're going to miss both teams, but Nebraska is definitely a team that you're going to absolutely miss. You're going to miss Nebraska. Nebraska, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Missouri. Those are games that people want to see.
And not being as connected as you are to the conference, but friends in the business that are talking about the conference, it seems like the past few years, the trip to Colorado had as much to do with visiting Boulder as it did watching a football game against Colorado.
Yeah, they've been kind of down. They've been kind of down lately. I'm my broadcast partner for the past 2 years, who's actually calling the game tomorrow night for us, is Joel Klatt, and he played quarterback in Colorado, and I give him a hard time all the time because they actually won 2 North Division championships while he was there, and they weren't any good. And I told him, I would love to play the Big 12 that you played in.
Corby, thanks for spending so much time with us.
No problem.
Have a good broadcast season.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Okay. MU quarterback Corby Jones. Football tomorrow on Fox Sports Kansas City. Billy struck out.
Okay. Second motion.
2-1 Rangers, top of the fourth inning. Brian Bullington giving up both of his runs in the first and using 31 pitches, but he's pulled it together since. Had a very quick second inning and got around a couple of base runners, including a leadoff walk in the third. 1-1 on Mitch Moreland, who ended the first inning with a ground ball to second base. Pena hesitating before throwing it back to Bullington. I think he believed that last pitch was a strike. It'll be Moreland, Benji Molina, and Andres Blanco. 2-2. Here's tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison with Bullington and Hunter. Hunter has hit 96, Bullington has hit 95. And you can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nelson Cruz driving in both runs for the Rangers in the first inning with a single. Mike Aviles got the Royals run home in the third with a sacrifice fly. Royals are just 2-6 against the Rangers this year, but have a chance to win this series. Rangers shut out the Royals 3-0 on Monday, and then the Royals winning in the bottom of the ninth, 10-9 last night on a wild pitch. And another leadoff walk, second leadoff walk allowed by Bullington in the last 2 innings. This has really been the Royals' comfort zone over the past couple of months, playing close games. And winning last night 10-9, that was nothing new. Of the Royals' last 13 wins, 11 have been 1-run wins. The Royals had that stretch of 5 out of 9 games where they played extra innings. Runner going, Molina bounces it in front of the plate, and Pena could race him to first if he wanted to, but he'll flip it down to Keela. And that moves up Moreland to second base.
When you take a look at a swing like that, you have to know that was probably a hit and run right there. This ball's so far inside. And you take a look where this pitch is, and you take a look at this swing. Ball's running in on his hands, and he's still trying to hit it to the right side, but rolled over on it and popped it right up in front of plate. One hop right out in front of the plate, painted right on it. Always amazes me how these catchers see those balls right away. They just react to them just like that. I mean, when I tried to catch in Little League, I was 14 and tried to catch Ryan. The first one hit me in the right shoulder. The other one hit me in the left knee. And I realized I was blinking before the ball got there.
Andres Blanco into deep center, and he hits it over Gregor Blanco. So another extra base hit in the series for the Rangers, Blanco, and Texas has a 3-1 lead. Well, I remember when Andres was with the Royals, he had the big swing. In fact, probably too big of swing for his style of play. But now the strength has caught up with the swing, and he has 3 extra base hits in the series.
Well, he really lets the bat go, and he's nothing shy about his swing. But like you say, he's gotten a little bigger, a little stronger. And look how he meets this ball right at point of contact, head on the ball, and drives the ball deep over Blanco's head in center field. So you know you hit the ball well to get it over his head. But he's hit a lot of doubles. I think like the 6th double in the last 7 games for him. You know, he was kind of surprised that he was even playing today. When I saw him in batting practice and saw the lineup, and he says, well, I didn't think I was playing today, but I guess I must have done something right for one more day.
Borbone can really run. This is going to be a tough play. And Bullington does the right thing. He doesn't throw to first, and he almost got Blanco rounding third base. So Bullington realizing that probably the best thing he could do is throw to first and Borbone is safe. The worst thing he could do is throw it off the tarp, off the right field line.
Well, that's true. You get an idea of the speed of Bourbon, but it's one of those plays, Ryan, where you got to get the ball in your hand ready to go right away. Anytime, any readjustment, trying to get a double grip or something, you're going to lose that play. And he was heads up enough to try to catch Blanco around in third.
Last three Rangers have gone after the first pitch. Moreland opened the inning with a walk. Molina put the ball in play on a hit and run. Blanco doubled, and now Bourbon with an infield single. So they're not waiting very long against Bullington. Bullington has walked 3, all leading off an inning. And 2 of those 3 have come around the score. The first was Elvis Andrus leading off the game, and then was called safe at second base, stealing his 28th of the year in a play. It sure looked like Mike Avila supplied the tag before Andrews got to the bag. And that ended up being a big play. Gave the Rangers an extra out, if you will, and they took advantage, getting a 2-out, 2-run single.
When you throw sinker balls, you always feel like you can get a ground ball anytime you want a ground ball. And right here, this is what Brian Bullington should be shooting for, is just trying to throw something to get a ground ball and try to get him out of this inning.
Bourbon is running, and Pena fakes a throw, looks down to third. And the Rangers have 3 stolen bases in 4 innings.
Got the speed of Bourbon here. Great jump off. He takes a look in to see what happens at home plate, and he goes into second base pretty much uncontested.
Now the Royals bring the infield in. Line to Betancourt, and it's going to be an easy double play. So Blanco going on contact. The Rangers get 1, and they lead by 2. It was his birthday, and right when we put him on camera, he folds it up and puts it away. You got to keep it open a little bit longer. Here's how the Royals get out of the top of the 4th inning.
Well, infield in right here, running second and third, line drive right to Betancourt, and the way Blanco came down the line, it was almost like he was going on contact on this play. And I just kind of explained contact, meaning if you're on third base and the ball's hit, no matter where it's hit, you're going as soon as the ball comes off the bat. It'll be Keela
And then Betancourt and Gordon in the bottom of the 4th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Keela down 1 and 2 in the 2nd inning. Got a curveball out over the plate and hit a line drive right past Hunter. Almost hit him on the right hip. Rolled foul off to the first base side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Royals had runners at first and third and 1 out in the 2nd inning, and Hunter was able to get Alex Gordon to ground into a double play. And the Royals had 2 on with nobody out in the 3rd inning and scored 1. Mike Aviles hit a sacrifice fly. 2-2. Tommy Hunter is out of Indianapolis, and that's the same hometown as Brian Bullington. They don't know each other, but their families do. Up the middle and into right center field, so Keela's 2 for 2. And the Royals now in the last 3 innings have the leadoff man on.
Can't really watch the location of this pitch, Ryan, and Keela's. That's his zone right there. That's when he squares the ball up real well, down just above the knees. That's when he gets his best swing. Did a good job driving this ball hard on the ground in the center field.
Betancourt flied out to deep right field in the 2nd inning. And because of that, Nelson Cruz in right is a little bit deeper now than he was in the 2nd. Cruz had to turn and burn, as they say, and sprinting towards the warning track was able to run down Uni's fly ball. So a little bit deeper now. And you can see the patch of grass behind him, which is worn down and replaced. That's where the right fielders normally play. Keela runs, and I'm guessing somebody missed a sign.
Well, if Keeler's running, then you're probably looking at a hit and run. And Molina called for it. He went in and patted his glove like he was going to be on the plate, but it was actually a pitch out. And as a hitter, you got to be able to cut your swing down. And if that ball is on the outer half, you can actually throw your bat at that ball and try to foul it off to protect the runner.
Two balls and 1 strike on Uni.
So you take a look at Molina here, which is usually you don't see this in a pitch out. He calls for the pitch out with his right hand, but he sits down behind the plate for a long time. A lot of times catchers will jump out early, and he just tells him, and really, he might have sniffed this out on his own because he didn't really give a pitch out sign. He just took his right hand and say, I want the ball outside.
Belted to deep left field. Back goes Murphy, and it is gone. It's a 3-2 game. Well, we don't know for sure. Uni may have missed a sign, but he did not miss a 3-1 pitch from Tommy Hunter.
Well, he's not going to ever miss that fastball, Ryan, where that pitch was. That's his power right there, and he really attacks the ball when it's time to swing. It's 3-1 count. Foxtrax shows us through Chevrolet how that ball ran back into his bat. And you just see he just opened those hips up really well right there and just got those hands through and really squared this ball up. This ball just ran right into his zone. I mean, when you get that ball between the belt and the knees on him and on the inner half of the plate, he got some kind of bat speed in that area. It's almost like his game is starting to grow a little bit stronger when you saw the home run down into the first seats inside the right field foul pole the other night, the line drive in the right center field. So he's kind of like got pretty good plate coverage. The ball mill in, he pulls, the one out over the plate, he drives the other way.
And Alex goes the other way, but lines out to Murphy. So Alex is 0 for 2. And it's still just pure speculation, but normally the hitter has a bigger smile on his face, and especially Uni when he hits a home run. But Uni doesn't look all that thrilled in the dugout, which might be further evidence that he missed a sign. So he's happy he hit the home run, but perhaps mad at himself that he wasn't ready for the hit and run, and Keela was gunned down at second base.
Yeah, I think the pitch out really threw him off, and hitters just have to remember in that situation, your zone just really gets bigger, and you just want to make sure you put the ball in play or at least foul the ball off to protect that base runner that's going down to second base.
Brian Pena laid down a bunt single leading off the third inning. Bunted it to the third base side and then scored on Mike Avila's sacrifice fly. If you haven't heard, Jason Kendall has a torn rotator cuff muscle. He's done for the year and most likely will have surgery on Friday. So Brian Pena is going to get a long look behind the plate with a little more than a month to go. And the Royals called up catcher Lucas May from AAA Omaha. He was going to be called up anyway. And teams normally will call up an extra catcher when they expand the rosters in September. But because of the injury to Kendall, both Pena and May will be playing more than they expected in the final month. And now Pena walks.
I know Brian is not, happy to see Kendall out for the year, but I know he really wanted more playing time, and this will give Ned Yost and the organization a little bit longer to look at Brian and a little bit harder to look at him. And Lucas May will get an opportunity to get his first base hit, first game, first everything. So it'd be good to see him come in. What did we get in the trade? And you get a chance to look at that.
And for those who are watching tonight and saying, now who's Lucas May? He came over from the Dodgers in the deal for Scott Posednik, but he reported to AAA Omaha. Curveball's a little high. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mitch Meyer. Had a base hit to center field in the third inning.
Well, Lucas May wasn't playing that bad in Omaha either. He had a .291 average, 16 home runs, and 58 RBI in just 97 games. So I'm excited to see him myself.
Mitch was not in the starting lineup for the first 2 games. Willie Bloomquist started on Monday. And last night, Jay Miller was in right field. That's a fair ball over the bag. Nelson Cruz into the corner. Brian Pena to third, and Eddie Rodriguez will hold him. Rangers did a pretty good job of getting that ball back to the infield quickly. Blanco did not make a great throw to the plate. It would have been very difficult for Molina to handle that throw and apply a tag, but it's a moot point as Pena's held at third on the double.
Well, Brian is really running hard and gets around. As soon as he touches the base, he looks up, and Eddie Rodriguez has got the stop sign up. So what Eddie's got to read is he's got to read a throw into the cutoff guy and where Brian is when the cutoff guy receives the ball. And so he's taking a look, and now he holds him up. So, but that's his job. If he sees that throw offline or above, if he's going to miss that first cutoff, you can kind of let him go at that point. A lot of people say, with 2 outs, go ahead and take the chance, but you don't want your guy thrown out by 10 feet. If it's a bang-bang play, that's fine.
And you also have to factor the runner, and not only is Brian Pena not fast, but how often does Brian Pena run from first to home? How much gas does he have in the tank once he comes around third base?
Wow, that's a long way. That's a lot longer than people think it is.
So second and third for Gregor Blanco, who is grounded back to the mound and dropped down a sacrifice bunt. Royals with a run in the inning to make it a one-run game on Unievsky Betancourt's home run. And with 2 outs, Pena walked and Meyer has doubled. Blanco pops it up. Borbone comes in from center field to end the inning. The Royals strand 2, but they get a run as Unievsky Betancourt adds to his career high with his 15th home run of the year. Now, and he's made it a one-run game with a home run in the bottom of the 4th inning. Not quite as wild as it was last night, but similar to last night, where one team scores, the other team comes back and forth they went last night until about the 6th inning.
What I find interesting is pitchers that are supposed to go out there and just keep the game close, and the Royals hitters are really starting to attack the good pitchers that are coming in here with the good records, and I think that's what I like about them. They're not really laying down, they're hitting the ball hard and running the bases aggressively, and just seeing the job that Unievsky Betancourt continues to do is pretty exciting.
Well, he has far surpassed his previous career high in home runs. He's passed that by 6, and now trying to match his RBI high, which was 67, and he's just 3 away from that. Michael Young is struck out and lined out to left against Brian Bullington following a 4-hit game last night. 2-1. There's Chuck Greenberg next to former Royal and former Rangers catcher Jim Sundberg, who has been in the Rangers front office for a long time. Chuck Greenberg in the middle was just recently approved as owner of the Texas Rangers. And a bizarre situation that was with Tom Hicks, whose company went into bankruptcy. And so the Rangers were in limbo for a long time, and the final result was a public auction. And Chuck Greenberg, his group, winning that auction. An ownership group that includes Nolan Ryan, who was already the team president, and now Nolan Ryan has partial ownership of the Rangers. Still 2-2 on Michael Young.
Well, Nolan knows something about ownership. You know, his family owns the team at Round Rock, the AAA team for the Astros, and also Corpus Christi, the AA team for the Astros. So his family owns that team, those two teams also.
Mark Cuban, who owns the Dallas Mavericks, the flamboyant NBA owner, was one of the groups that was bidding on the Rangers. And it would have been interesting to see how the other major league owners would have welcomed him to the fraternity, if they welcomed him at all. Tough hop for Uni that hit the lip of the grass, so it flattened out on him and made a routine play more difficult, but he hangs with it and throws out Michael Young.
Well, you got to look at the agility that Betancourt has at shortstop. This ball hits right on the edge of the grass there and goes straight down, and he didn't miss a beat. He just readjusted his body, backhanded this ball, came and moved right through it, right into the throw. He squared up in front of it, then the ball hits and goes to his right, and he stayed right with it. Nice play. Yeah, I would think Mark Cuban would want, he gets courtside seats in basketball. I think he would probably be wanting to be in the dugout.
And if they wouldn't let him be in the dugout, they would probably create some sort of seats next to the dugout. Although you don't get much closer to the dugout than the Rangers' little section at the ballpark at Arlington, which is just outside the first base dugout. Up the middle. And now Uni trying to go far to his left, and it's under his glove. And David Murphy, who's batting third tonight with Josh Hamilton out of the starting lineup, he goes 3 for 3. And with 1 on, 1 out, take a look at tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And with Vladimir Guerrero coming up, here are the American League hitters that have the most RBIs against the Royals this year. Joe Mauer with 17, Guerrero with 15, and Alex Rodriguez has 14. Remember, he had that 3 home run game here a couple of homestands ago. Guerrero has 5 home runs, or excuse me, 6 home runs against the Royals, but he has 2 different games this year where he's hit 2 in a game. That's the best swing he's had tonight against Brian Bullington on a foul ball. He has not had good swings his first 2 times up. This, however, was a great swing.
Well, this is when the ball doesn't move, and he had a swing when he fouled the ball off previous to that. But Ryan, this ball last night was just crushed by Vladimir Guerrero. And he has struggled a little bit more. He's cooled off a lot in the second half, but when you still look at those numbers up there, 297, 99 RBI, 25 home runs, you think it's been hitting all year. And he will do this. Taco Bell shows us through Fox Tracks that when he makes his mind up to swing, he's going to swing. And one time he hit a ball in front of the plate that bounced and hit it for a base hit.
Tied him up badly again. Boy, Brian Bullington has jammed Guerrero about as bad as Guerrero has ever been jammed, I'm sure. And he is 0 for 3 tonight.
Well, this is the pitch that's getting him. That fastball is running in on his hands. I mean, this thing takes off, and it's almost similar to the one he hit in front of the plate and started smiling about. I think he did
smiling at that one.
But the pitch, he did have one pitch in this at bat to hit, and he fouled it straight back. And that's what hitting is all about: getting your pitch and don't miss.
Nelson Cruz, with 2 outs in the first inning, hit a 2-run single. Runner going. Deep short. Uni's throw is perfect. He makes a very difficult play look easy. Running out into left field, a blind throw to first, and it's right on the money. Here's tonight's AT&T trivia question. Josh Hamilton is not in the lineup tonight, but both Josh Hamilton and Brian Bullington were first overall picks. What took longer to happen after signing their first professional contract? Brian Bullington winning his first Major League game, or Josh Hamilton making his Major League debut? No balls and 2 strikes on Mike Aviles. Mike lined out to right in the first inning and then hit a sac fly to right in the third. Slow breaking ball, and Mike is down on 3 strikes. And for Tommy Hunter, that is his second strikeout.
This really wasn't a perfect pitch here, Ryan. This ball stayed in the middle of the plate, and now Mike would probably love to have that pitch back. It was supposed to go to the outside, but it just backed up right in the middle of the plate.
Ball 1 to Bedemeet, who was lined out to second base and walked. Both teams have a day off tomorrow. And then on Friday, the Royals begin a 3-game series here against the Tigers. The Rangers will be heading to Minnesota. So it'll be a matchup of 2 first-place teams beginning on Friday night. Slicing to the left field corner, and that's a long run for Murphy, but he catches up to it, and there are 2 outs. Rangers are in the middle of their longest road trip of the year, and this is usually not the time of year where you want to have your longest road trip. Guys are wearing down as it is. Ron Washington will have some fresh bodies with the September call-ups, but this is an 11-day, 10-game road trip.
I think what you like to have too, Ryan, is some cooler weather. If you're coming out of a hot August and you're going into hopefully a cool September, then you get that pick-me-up. That's what you kind of look for in September.
It was a warm night on Monday, and it was warm last night until the wind shifted, started to cool things down. A very comfortable night tonight. And the Rangers should get cool weather. After they go to Minnesota, they'll be at Toronto. So if it's terribly hot there, of course they always have the option of closing the roof, but you figure this time of year it's not going to be too hot in Toronto.
They just have to look out for Bautista.
Man,
what a year.
He just keeps hitting them.
I mean, where does the guy go from here? I mean, most you ever hit in 1 year is 16. And now, what is it, 43? I mean, where do you go? Where do you go next year? That's such a big difference in home runs. So do you come out next year and expect the same thing out of him, or do you expect him to level off somewhere in the 20s? Who knows?
Well, if this were years past, where he would be going is to the doctor's office with a little plastic cup.
Well, there has been some insinuations there, but he definitely said that's not the case. It's all about improving his mechanics and not missing his pitch, and we have to take him at his word right now.
He has 10 more home runs than the next closest guy. Miguel Cabrera has 33. Bautista has 43. And if you look at the National League, Albert Pujols has 35, so he has 8 more home runs than the next closest guy.
And what's amazing is that he was leading in home runs at the All-Star break, and he wasn't even in the home run derby.
That's because every night for him is home run derby. And he's playing for the perfect team, too, because that's the way they go about it.
Yeah, Cito said at the beginning of the year, my team's going to live by the home run and it's going to die by the home run.
Just a little bit inside to Billy. Hunter has struck out Billy, and Billy has walked against Hunter. He has not retired the side in order since the bottom of the first. Still 3-2.
Yeah, good pitch to hit right there for Billy. He'd love to have that pitch back. Good swing at it. Got under just a little bit, but very hittable pitch for him.
And the breaking ball stays up. Billy walks for the second time tonight. And Tommy Hunter, who doesn't normally walk many, has put 4 on base. All right, Frank, back to the AT&T trivia question. What took longer? Josh Hamilton making his major league debut after signing his first big league contract, or Brian Bullington winning his first major league game?
Bullington.
Well, Josh Hamilton took longer, but it was only by 2 weeks. As far as total days after signing the contract, Bullington was the first overall pick in 2002 by the Pirates. And Josh Hamilton, the number 1 overall pick by Tampa Bay in 1999. Took them both 8 years. Bullington getting his first big league win this year against the Yankees. And then Josh Hamilton didn't get to the big leagues until 2007 with the Reds. Keela singled twice tonight, both into center field. He had been 0 for 6 before the game. Now down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You take a look at that swing right there, and every now and then Keela will really try to get out front. This is the previous swing. You talk about height of the ball. And this is a pitch that he thinks he sees well, but he doesn't see as well as he thinks. And that's the ball he usually either swings through or fouls off. And then the next one come in, and he gets out front. It's way on the outside, and he kind of just all arms trying to swing at it. But he's just better in the middle down.
And there you go. Good call, Frank. That pitch is up. Keela strikes out, and down go the Royals in the 5th inning. Verizon, the signal is yours. Wield it to transmit anything you want. Verizon. And by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. Still 3-2 Texas. Brian Bullington has given up 3 runs on 6 hits. 2 of those runs back in the first inning. And Mitch Moreland into deep left center field. That's a long run for Alex Gordon, and it is gone. Got a little bit of help from the wind, not much, but that's a long home run to the opposite field for a left-hand batter. And Mitch Moreland now has home runs in back-to-back games. And the Rangers lead 4-2.
Take a look at Moreland's quick bat. They think he's got a short swing that they really like, Ryan, and he stays with this fastball trailing away from him, and you can see his eyes right on the ball and just really gets under. And you don't see many balls from left-handed hitters hit that far to left center field. Really hit that ball well. To be able to hit a ball that well and drive it like that, you really got to keep that front side closed. You really got to let the ball travel and really get behind it and really drive it. And he did an excellent job on that pitch.
Benji Molina has grounded out twice. And now he's reaching, and that's hit deep to left field. But Alex, backing up onto the warning track, is there for out number 1. So reaching just enough to not get behind it and drive it over the wall. And it stays just on this side of the fence. Well, we hope you'll come join us at Kauffman Stadium this Sunday. It's the Royals and the Tigers at 1:10. And stay after the game to run the bases for free during the Sprint Fun Run. Also, don't miss out on a great deal, the Bases Loaded 4-pack, which gets you 4 tickets and $10 loaded value for concessions and merchandise. And if you'd like details on that game and that package, go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Andres Blanco lines it to center field. His second hit tonight and his 6th of the series, so he is punishing his former team.
I think the one thing, he's just getting good pitches to hit. These pitches are out over the plate and giving him an opportunity to extend his arm. You can see what his pitching is here, Ryan. He's just right down the middle of the plate, and he's just driving the ball right back through the middle. So every pitch that he's hit has just been up in a hittable area, and he just hasn't missed.
And that's enough for a pitching change. It'll be Phil Umber. And he'll come on with 1 on, 1 out in the 6th inning as the Royals make a Chevy call to the bullpen. Giving up a home run to Mitch Moreland, a fly out to deep left from Benji Molina, and a base hit to Andres Blanco. So it'll be Phil Umber to face Julio Borbon. So we go from one former first-round pick who got his first big league win this year to another. And last Wednesday in Detroit, coming out of the bullpen, Umber picked up his first major league victory. Got some help from Willie Bloomquist with a home run in the top of the 12th. Bullington talking to last night's starting pitcher Sean O'Sullivan. Borbon has an infield single, and he is grounded out to second base. Andres Blanco does not have a stolen base this year with the Rangers, but the Rangers are running against the Royals. They have 3. Elvis Andrus, David Murphy, and Julio Bourbon. Slap foul, 0-1. Wasn't quite the year that Bourbon and the Rangers were hoping for. He was called up late last year and had an excellent finish to the season at the big league level. Had a pretty good spring training, and so Ron Washington thought, well, I've got my center fielder and I've got my leadoff man. By the middle of May, Bourbon was struggling to hit 200. The last time the Royals and Rangers hooked up was the end of May here at Kauffman Stadium, and Bourbon had gotten his average up to 240, and now he's at 268. But he is batting ninth. Blanco almost fell off the bag.
Regardless of how that combination goes, you got speed at the ninth spot, speed in the number 1 spot. It really helps a lot.
Off of Avila's glove, that could have been a double play, but Avila's went into a slide, couldn't make the catch, and that's a break for the Rangers. Instead of the inning being over, they have runners at first and second.
I think you're right, Ryan. Going into the slide may have cost him this catch right here. This is one you just run right through. You don't want to dive and try to make a play on that ball. If you stay on your feet, you can run in and make this catch. Now you got your double play at first base. So he went into when he went to the dive, that took the ball from the pocket of his glove and right to the heel of his glove. He couldn't slow his body down to make the adjustment.
It's a base hit for Bourbon, and to add injury to insult, if you will, by not making the play, then Mike landed heavy on his right hand, and that went skidding across the dirt. And so he's checking that out, trying to get some moisture on the outside part of the hand that just went dragging along the dirt.
Well, you see more and more infielders going to the left and right. They want to slide and make the catch, but that's a ball there you probably could stay on your feet, Ryan, and run right through and try to make the play. I just believe that you stay on your feet to the last minute and then you dive for a ball. But you see more and more infielders sliding into catching balls now. And I think in the long run over the course of the year, what you do is you give your pitchers more hits, and rather than true base hit, they get hits on those type balls that probably are catchable. And now you got to earn runs that you don't need, and you got longer innings that you don't need. So I say stay on your feet, run as long as you can, and dive. But that sliding in, trying to pop up, I don't agree with that at all.
Now ground ball to short. Betancourt's play is to first. So Blanco moves up to third base, and Bourbon is up to second. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. They may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. 4-2 Rangers in the sixth inning. They have scored in this inning on a home run from Mitch Moreland. They now have runners at second and third for Michael Young, who is 0 for 3 against Brian Bullington. Pena sets up outside. Michael Young didn't like the sound of that call, and it's 1-1. And then they didn't get that call. That looked like more of a strike than the pitch before.
Well, that's Humber's bread and butter pitch, that hard curveball, get the hitter to flinch. But you look at these.
That's the strike.
They call that a strike. That's 2 balls off the plate, and then you come back with that hard breaking ball. That's his bread and butter pitch, and that's on the outside corner. He doesn't get it. So that pitch is designed to make the hitter flinch a little bit and give up that outside corner.
And now 2-2 on Michael Young. Chad Fairchild is the home plate umpire. Not to throw him under the bus or anything like that, but it is Chad Fairchild who has had a good strike zone all night.
Well, Umber's really working Michael Young on that outside corner. He's barely getting the bat hit on it. Did really freeze him with that curveball. He didn't get the call strike, so that would be a pitch right now. It might be a good pitch, but probably one that you throw it more toward him and get him to flinch a little bit and have him come back over the plate.
Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Popped up, and Keela all the way over to the dugout, but it's 3 rows back. Hey, there's a nice catch. Stay with the ball. He had no chance to catch the pop-up, but he stayed with the ball and was ready for the ricochet. That is a heads-up play.
That's a snow cone.
What was Phil doing behind him? Phil, our cameraman down at first base. Buckled in with a curveball. That's Umber's best pitch, and he needed it with runners at second and third. This is the final game of the series. Final game between the Royals and the Rangers this year, and the Royals don't have any problem with that as the Rangers have won 6 of 8. Tommy Hunter throws ball 1 to Yuniesky Betancourt, who has been right on Hunter tonight with a fly ball to deep right field and then a home run to left. And a drive to left field again. This is more down the end of the bat. So Murphy has to play well in front of the warning track. And Uni is 1 for 3. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell tickets to the games you can't make. On StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Royals, you'll find great seats and great service on StubHub. So go to StubHub.com and select your seats today or tonight or tomorrow. There's no game tomorrow. A strike to Alex Gordon, who is grounded into a double play and lined out to left field. Blanco backhands, and Alex is out number 2. Talking last night about how Elvis Andrus grew up as a big fan of Omar Vizquel. Well, so was Andres Blanco. So you got a couple of guys who grew up in Venezuela chirping at one another right now. Shortstops in Venezuela and their age. Shortstop begins and ends with Omar Vizquel. And I remember when Vizquel was playing for the Indians and Blanco had been called up in 2004, he was too bashful to go over and introduce himself to Vizquel. So Royals manager Tony Pena dragged him over there during batting practice so that Blanco had a chance to meet and shake the hand of his boyhood idol. Vizquel has been living in the United States for several years. He lives in Seattle. That's the team he broke into the big leagues with, so doesn't spend a whole lot of time in Venezuela. So Blanco grew up idolizing him, but never had a chance to meet him. And never would have if not for Tony Pena.
Just a matter of covering just a little bit of ground. But I know the feeling. I've been there.
Two and two on Brian Pena. And we'll mention it again. Jason Kendall is done for the year with a torn rotator cuff. Expected to have surgery on Friday. And that recovery time can be anywhere from 9 months to 12 months. And Brian is 2 for 2, and he's been on base all 3 times. Of course, the doctors don't really know exactly the extent of the injury until they actually get in there and see it with the human eye.
Well, that's true. Taco Bell showed us Brian stays on this ball. Now, this is what I remember about Brian Pena last year, Ryan. It's left-handed. He was back through the middle, the left center field, right-handed the opposite way. And he stays on this tailing fastball very well and drives it back through the middle.
So a Chevy call to the bullpen for the Rangers as Tommy Hunter comes out with 2 down in the 6th. Is this Kirkman kid from last night? First and 2 down. Ron Washington brings in the left-hander Michael Kirkman in respect of what Mitch Meyer has done tonight against Tommy Hunter. Kirkman will be making his 6th appearance. He made his 5th last night and was quite impressive in 3 1/3 innings. Faced 4, retired 4 with a strikeout. He inherits Brian Payne at first and will pitch to Mitch Meyer. Meyer has a solid base hit to center field and a double into the right field corner. Ball 1. To the hole on the right side and past Blanco. So Meyer is 3 for 3. Well, they bring in the lefty to face him, and Meyer gets a base hit to right field. Another look at tonight's Sprint You Call It, asking you who had the best month of August. Text 432-432. The keyword is Royals. Then a space. A for Unievsky Betancourt. B for Wilson Betemit. C for Bruce Chen. And D for Joaquim Soria. A 3-horse race. Chen, Soria, and Betancourt. Pitching coach Mike Maddox out to have a quick word with Kirkman, who's going to get another left-hand batter in Gregor Blanco. Gregor is nothing out of 2 so far. He does have a sacrifice bunt. So Payne at second. Meyer, the tying run, is at first. Blanco looks at a strike. Gregor was not one of the 4 hitters that faced Kirkman last night, so getting his first look at him tonight. Kirkman out of the Rangers farm system, 5th round pick in 2005. One and one. Line to left field. Murphy to the line. He caught it. And to this point, it is a game-saving catch for the Rangers. That scores 2 to tie the game. Instead, the Royals come up empty.
tomorrow, and then a home series against Detroit, and that means a home Friday, the return of real Royals trivia. I want you to get to Rivals early to register. We'll take 3 contestants. Got some great prizes, good questions. And as Ryan said, Kevin Shank and his booming voice will be there as well. Royals trivia. All right, I'll test one out on you guys. This one I think was too difficult, so I'm not going to use it for Friday, but I've been researching the Tigers, some team questions here. Actually, I got nothing. Let's just let that play out. Maybe he could be like our prize guy. He can hand out the prizes.
That's dancing to James Brown, by the way.
Those are some phenomenal moves. Jeremy Bonderman is going to get the start. That was just announced tonight against Zach Greinke.
True.
What?
Oh, that's not the question.
Kansas City Royal, true or false? What Kansas City Royal, current Royal, has the most career home runs against Jeremy Bonderman?
Current Kansas City Royal.
He's got 2.
Alex Gordon.
No. But he was a guest on Royals Live today. This could drag out forever, so figured I'd speed it up. Thanks for watching. He's a Big 12 guy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that segment.
He's a Big 12 guy, and it's not Alex Gordon.
Oh, it's probably got to be Josh Fields.
There you go, Frank. See how quickly you forget.
Trick question.
It's a trick question. I was looking that up, and I said, that's not fair, but I'll give it to Ryan and Frank.
No, that's good. Josh from Oklahoma State, where he also played football and called up from AA Northwest Arkansas. And I thought Josh Fields was done for the year when he went down with hip surgery in spring training.
I did too, and then he's just worked his way back in Arizona, and then before you know it, he's in Northwest Arkansas, and soon to be here.
Saying he had a great time with the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, and what a great treat for them. That's 2 years in a row that they've had a former big leaguer play with them. As Umber strikes out David Murphy, and that's the first time the Royals have retired him. He had 3 singles his first 3 times up, and scored a run back in the first inning. And now Vladimir Guerrero, who is 0 for 3. Let's go back to Joel.
Well, Ryan, I was talking to Sean O'Sullivan today, and of course he gave up that blast of a home run that went into the water that you guys showed earlier today. Hello, that's one way to pitch Vlad, I guess. And it was interesting because he was a teammate of Vladimir Guerrero's last year, has incredible respect for Vlad, and he said he even learned during spring training last year that you better not throw him anything off speed for a strike because he's so strong you're going to get in trouble. And he was asked after the game last night if the wind really played a part into some of the home runs, and he said it might have, but on Vlad's, it did not make a difference at all. It didn't matter how much wind, how little wind. He absolutely crushed that ball as Umber is able to retire Guerrero, but O'Sullivan, who has so much respect, said the key to pitching Vlad, if there is a key, is you've got to get up and in on him, but not just up and in, really up and in, and then you've got to be able to go away and be maybe 3 feet in front of the plate. And then Brian Bullington, who was sitting next to him, said, you need to be able to pitch to him extreme everywhere. But O'Sullivan was saying he was sitting in the clubhouse last year, and he saw, we call it the Fox tracks, but he said it was a K zone that he saw last year, and said you got the K zone, and you saw the little box, or the Fox tracks, and you got the Vlad zone, or the Vlad tracks, and that box, that second box for the Vlad tracks would be quite a bit bigger.
Well, Brian Bullington ended up executing what Sean O'Sullivan talked about very well. He got 2 pitches way in on his hands, jammed him badly in a couple of at-bats. Keela going as far as he can, but doesn't quite catch up to the pop-up, and it's 1-2 on Nelson Cruz. Here's one of the pitches that was way inside.
It kind of illustrates what we're talking about, Ryan. And I mean, even Vlad had to smile at that ball how far in it got. And the difference between how they're pitching him right now and how they pitched him early in the year was height. He hit balls well in off the plate for home runs early in the year, and we said, well, how did he hit that ball? But you get up around his hands, he can't get the bat hit to the ball, and that's what you saw right there.
I think Sean's being a little modest. I think the wind helped out Guerrero a little bit last night. It certainly wasn't a wind-blown home run, but because of the wind, he almost hit it up in the dry duck seats. Humber has faced 5 and retired 5. And successful in all 3. Got the final out for C.J. Wilson in game 1 in the 8th inning. Rangers won that game 3-0. Pitched an inning and 2/3 last night, scoreless, with 3 strikeouts. Royals winning that in the bottom of the 9th, 10-9. And now on in the bottom of the 7th with Mike Aviles, Wilson Betemit, and Billy Butler coming up. Rangers with 4 runs, 9 hits. They got 2 runs in the first and 1 in the 4th. And then Mitch Moreland homered in the 6th. All runs charged to Brian Bullington. The Royals with 2 runs, 8 hits. Mike Aviles, who bats now, has a sac fly. And Yuniesky Betancourt has a solo home run. Other than the sacrifice fly, Aviles has lined out to right and struck out. Into left center field. Borbone hustling over into a slide. And that's a double for Aviles. So runner at second, nobody out.
Well, Mike picks on a slow breaking ball. The quick chip shows it to Fox, tracks his ball right in the center of the plate, and Mike stayed right on it and drove it into left center field. This ball is hit very hard. This line drive over shortstop, right in the gap in left field. The Borbone playing shallow. He had to go back in order to cut this ball off, and Mike makes a good turn and goes into second easily.
And a strike to Wilson Betemit. Wilson 0 for 2 so far with a walk. Going for it all, trying to tie the game. No balls, 2 strikes.
Well, you still take in the point in a close enough game, Ryan, where moving that runner is really important to get him to third base, and that's the job that Betemit has right now, is to try to get Mike in scoring position by getting him over to third base and making him close to the home plate.
Right field, and back goes Cruz, and he has a play. So not quite what the fans were hoping for, but Aviles moves up to third base, and there is one out.
That's a good job. You go back, you advance the runner, you go back to the dugout, everybody's patting you on the back. One, a few times you get patted on the back for making it out, but he gave it. That's one of the balls that really helped the ball club right there.
Billy Butler is 0 for 1. He has 2 walks. He faced O'Day last night and struck out looking. Missed down and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Second opportunity tonight for the Royals to get a runner in from third with less than 2 outs. They weren't able to come through in the second inning. First and third one away in the second inning, and Tommy Hunter was able to get Alex Gordon to ground into a double play. Three balls and no strikes. With an arm angle like that, Darren O'Day is going to be awfully tough on a right-hand batter, but lefties get a good look at it. And Keila Kaihue is on deck. And lefty Darren Oliver is ready in the bullpen.
Right now he's just having a hard time finding that consistent release point.
And it's a 4-pitch walk. So here we go again. First and third and 1 out. Ron Washington indeed will come out of the dugout and will bring on Oliver to face Keila.
Well, the weather for the whole area will continue much the same as the past 4 days.
The Big O. Of the 7th inning. And even though he wasn't on the mound when the game ended, Darren Oliver took the loss last night. He gave up Wilson Bedemeat's double. Willie Bloomquist ran for him. Oliver then struck out Keila Kaihue, who he's going to get here. A 4-pitch walk to Brian Pena. Then Bloomquist stole third. And then Oliver struck out Alex Gordon, and then Ron Washington decided to bring on a right-hander to face Unievsky Betancourt, Alexi Ogando. And Ogando's wild pitch got Bloomquist in from third, and the Royals walked off thanks to a wild pitch. Keila singled his first 2 times up tonight, and then he struck out. Down and away, ball 1. Oh, we'll keep an eye on what he swings at based on what you've been talking about the last 3 at-bats tonight. The pitch is below the belt, he hits well. The pitch is above the belt, he has problems with.
Well, definitely, and the sweeping breaking ball across the plate, he tries to pull that. If he goes with that pitch right there, he's got a better chance to drive it in the alley. But he goes so far and then he just kind of rolls over. But just getting a pretty good idea of the type of pitches that pitchers are having success with him on. But but when you put it in a small window, you say, okay, what does he hit best? He hit best balls about mid-thigh from middle of the plate in, middle of the plate away.
Ooh. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good pitch by Oliver, but it caught a lot of the plate.
That are breaking balls, you really can't give up on them too fast. But it's almost like you got to look for a pitch sometimes and just try to put it in play. Don't try to do everything with one swing. Just do what's needed for the situation.
Reaching out, hits a soft liner to third, and Michael Young is there for the out. So 2 down. And now first and third for Unievsky Betancourt. So a little different scenario tonight, as this time Ron Washington will allow Darren Oliver to face Betancourt. Uni is 1 out of 3 with his 15th home run. Just in case Billy Butler decides right now to go for his first stolen base of the year. Just in case. One ball and no strikes. Interesting, too, that Ron Washington decided to go with a young, more inexperienced pitcher to face Unievsky Betancourt than the veteran Darren Oliver. And looking at the matchups, Uni is 0 for 5 against Darren Oliver. Up the right field line, it is a fair ball. The Royals make it a 1-run game. Butler goes to third. Uni has a double.
Darren Oliver really makes a pretty good pitch here. This ball's cutting in on Uni's hands on the inside. He didn't try to pull it. He stayed inside of it and sliced this ball down the right field line. You can see where he just stayed with it. Ryan didn't try to roll over, just got inside the pitch coming in and looped it down the right field line. Nice piece of hitting right there. You see Mike comes in to score. And Uni's running all the way on this play and go belly flop right into second base. But I mean, that's just a good piece of hitting. He's using all lines of the field and both right and left field line, doing an outstanding job just making adjustments at this time.
Up the middle, but that's where Andrus was playing Alex Gordon. So the Royals get 1. Betancourt has driven in 2 tonight, and it's a 1-run game. his double in the 7th inning. He's had a full night. He has the Chevy plays of the game.
Well, I tell you, outstanding, Ryan. He hit his 15th home run, back in the 4th inning. And here, this play here, just off the charts right here. I mean, this is a no-look throw all the way across the diamond, and this is accurately made. And it's an unbelievable play right there. And then he ends up driving in that second run here with a double right down the right field line.
So Uni has 65 RBIs, just 2 away from his previous career high.
I am still amazed by that play. I mean, he's going full speed in the hole. Backhands it, throws without looking. It's unbelievable.
All
play.
the way on the fly.
Unbelievable play.
Phil Humber has retired the last 5. He began the 6th inning by giving up an infield single to Julio Bourbon, but then has retired 5 in a row. He gets Mitch Moreland, Benji Molina, and Andres Blanco in the 8th inning. And right now, Moreland's home run is the difference in the game. Hit it to left center field against Brian Bullington, leading off the 6th inning. Two balls, 2 strikes. Last night was the 3rd time this year the Rangers have hit 4 home runs against the Royals. Most home runs the Royals have allowed in a game is 5. That's happened 3 times. Moreland homered along with Vladimir Guerrero, David Murphy, and Michael Young. And that's hit hard. Keela, nice play, turns around, and out at first base, just barely. Moreland almost beat Humber to the bag.
Anything to the right side, that pitcher's got to be going right away as soon as he sees that ball going. Keela makes a nice play. This ball is really behind him, and they did a good job just making that 360 turn and making a nice throw to Humber at first base. And we can see just how close that play really was.
Tie goes to the Humber.
Don't get much closer than that.
Molina's out on the ground ball to third base. He is 0 for 4. So 2 down, and let's take a look at the Panera American League scoreboard. White Sox have defeated the Indians. Cleveland's lost 4 in a row. Yankees have won 5 straight as they beat Oakland. So good news for the Rangers. Red Sox leading the Orioles. They're in the 9th inning at Camden Yards. Rays remain 1 game back of the Yankees with their win over Toronto. Tigers in Minnesota are tied in the 9th inning. Minnesota with a 4-game lead over Chicago. And the Angels and Mariners are in the 2nd at Safeco Field. Andres Blanco is 2 for 3 tonight. And in the series, 6 out of 11 with 2 doubles and a triple. A couple of good curveballs, no balls, 2 strikes.
That's been a real good pitch for Humber. You don't see many curveballs thrown that hard and in the strike zone like he's been able to do. And he's at the one where he can make it go down and in to the left-hander and make the right-hander buckle on it.
Back with it again, and it's still 0-2.
Hitting is such a timing event for the hitter, and it just gives you an idea that they have to stay really, really consistent throughout the swing. If they flinch at all before they swing, they can't swing. Whether it be in the knee, whether it be in the shoulder, any movement at all in a negative way as a hitter before the ball hits the hitting zone, they just can't swing at the ball. And that's why pitching is not about how hard you throw a lot of times. It's about how well you can break the hitter's timing.
Fastball inside is fouled away. One and two. So Umber's retired the last 7 after giving up the base hit to Bourbon in relief of Bullington in the 6th.
Yeah, Brian Payne wanted that curveball down and in. That one stayed outside. And that's what happens a lot of times, Brian, when you throw that hard curveball. Sometimes you try to overthrow it. You get it up around, when it's around 80, it seems to have a better break. When it gets around 83, sometimes it'll spurt right out of the top of your hand there and just back up and don't go the direction you want it to go. It's just what they call a backup slider, a backup curveball. Just like that one, it just doesn't come out the same way. You got to really get on top of it, and sometimes that too much arm speed or too much pressure will just make it back up away from where you want it to go.
And Rich Harden is warming up in the bullpen. All of his appearances this year has been as a starter. Spent time on the disabled list. Center field and right to Blanco. So a good outing so far for Umber. He has retired the last 8.
Game from Rivals. We've got Boulevard Royals live. We'll take a look back at the highlights from this game and Brian Bullington's night. Also, Phil Umber pitching well out of the bullpen. We'll hear from Ned Yost. We'll talk a little bit more about Jason Kendall, his injury, and replacing him. That and more coming up on Boulevard Royals live with Paul Split Up, guys.
And there's Patrick. Nice and comfortable out in Rivals, as he always is. When everyone else is out in the heat and the wind and the rain and the cold. It's a good gig if you can get it.
For sure.
But there's only one of those jobs. And there's the important camera shot that Patrick is contributing to the mix. Just in case a fire breaks out at the Royals Hall of Fame, you want to make sure we've got a camera on it at all times. Brian Pena, 2 out of 2, 2 singles, a walk, and a run scored, facing Darren Oliver. Oliver gave up Unievsky Betancourt's double in the 7th inning and scored Mike Avila's to make it a 1-run game. to short, and Andrews throws him out. Mentioned last night that Darren Oliver was born here in Kansas City. His father Bob was an original Royal, and they have an interesting link in their careers. In 2004, Darren Oliver went to the Florida Marlins the year after they won the World Series and played for Jack McKeon, who at one point was his dad's manager 33 years earlier.
Coincidentally, Bob's number was 33. Yeah, Jack was fun to play for. I mean, as a young player, he was very aggressive and did a good job handling young guys.
Good night for Mitch Meyer, 3 for 3. One of his hits is a double. And one of his base hits against a left-hand pitcher, Michael Kirkman. Mitch was not in the lineup last night with Cliff Lee on the mound, or on Monday with C.J. Wilson on the mound. So Mitch trying to prove that he can hit the lefties as well as the righties. Hits that one right to Blanco, and there are 2 down in the 8th inning.
Well, Quick Trip shows us where this pitch is through Fox Tracks. Darren Oliver gets this ball down and away. Mitch shows a lot of reach with his bat and bring this ball back to Blanco in the pull hole. This ball's down and away. So that's a lot of strength for Mitch to be able to pull that ball back that way.
Well, he might see Gil Mesh out of the bullpen for the first time when we get to the top of the 9th inning. That's if the Royals are down. Otherwise, Joaquim Soria just starting to play catch in case the Royals take the lead in the bottom of the 8th. Gil Mesh and Josh Fields coming off the disabled list. And Lucas May is called up from AAA. Those are the additions so far, with the rosters expanding on September the 1st. So Gil Mesh, for the last month of this year and all of next year, is going to try and help the Royals out of the bullpen. Three balls and 1 strike on Blanco. Royals had to make some roster moves with the 40-man roster. Even though the rosters can be expanded, that's only if guys are on the 40-man roster. Well, Gil Mesh and Josh Fields were on the 60-day disabled list, which allows teams to take them off the roster. So Luke Hochaver and David DeJesus were placed on the 60-day DL. Nice stab by Michael Young over at third base. And the Royals ground out 3 times against Oliver in the 8th. Phil Umber's third scoreless innings. Gave up an infield single and then retired the next 8. And Gil Mesh will pitch for the 10th time for the Royals this year. The first time in over 3 months. And he's pitching out of the bullpen at the big league level for the first time in 11 years. Got to go back to 1999 when Gil Mesh made 16 appearances for the Seattle Mariners. 15 of those were starts. Let me take that back. Hold everything. What do they say in a courtroom? Strike that from the record. I missed 2005. He made 3 relief appearances for the Mariners in 2005. So thank you, producer Kevin Shank. But either way, if you include his 9 starts this year, Gil Mesh has made 247 major league appearances, and 243 of those have been starts. 3 pitches, and down goes Julio Bourbon.
A very impressive start. Gil, this fastball up to 95 miles an hour and just attacking the zone. And out of the bullpen, Ryan, well, you know you just got 1 inning to pitch. You just come out and let it go. I mean, that's outstanding fastball right by Bourbon.
No thoughts about pacing himself. No thoughts about establishing certain pitches. No thoughts about getting a feel for certain pitches. Just go right at him. And 4 pitches into it, he has 2 outs. Gil started the season on the disabled list because of his right shoulder, and then came back from the DL very early in the season. It was April the 10th. And then back on the DL on May the 29th, again with the shoulder, so out for over 3 months.
The one thing you worry about when a guy's been starting that long is how fast can he get started in a game. But, you know, right now Gil's attacking his own very aggressively. And that's one thing that with starters, if you can't come out with those strikes right away, it's kind of hard to go in the bullpen and then do a good job. But if he continues to come out and throw like he's thrown so far, it should work to his advantage for a while.
Left a cutter out over the plate, and Michael Young picks up his first hit tonight and his 6th of the series. Neftali Feliz getting ready for the bottom of the 9th. It'll be Mike Aviles, Wilson Betemit, and Billy Butler. And if anybody gets on, Keila Kaihue. Three hits tonight for David Murphy. And back in the first inning, stole a base and scored a run. Up the left field line, Alex Gordon has a long run, dives head first, and he missed it. Pretty good effort, though. That's a long run from straightaway left field, and a pretty courageous dive on the warning track, very close to the barrier wall.
Well, you're right, Ronnie. He does go a long way and runs out of steps, and maybe the glove angle could have been a little different on that one. Maybe try to attempt to do the backhand on this when he turns it toward the infield, and then that really allowed him to fall awkwardly like that. If he had to the backhand side, now he can actually catch himself a lot better when he hits the ground.
One ball, 2 strikes. The early reports when Gil was throwing on the side and just couldn't quite get right and return to the rotation was that fastball was pretty good, cutter was pretty good, changeup was all right, but having some trouble with his curveball, which puts more strain on the shoulder than it does the elbow. And a soft liner is caught by Aviles, so Gil's return to the bullpen for the first time in 5 years is a good one. 4 and has a scoreless top of the 9th inning. And now the Royals down by 1 to the bottom of the 9th with Neftali Feliz. He saved the game on Monday. He had 3 runs to work with that night. Much slimmer margin for error tonight. Feliz has 33 saves this year. He's only blown 3. It'll be Mike Aviles, Wilson Betemeat, and Billy Butler. Aviles fouls it away. Just 2 at-bats against Feliz. He has a single, and Feliz has struck him out. Well, Feliz is feeling it tonight. The radar gun says 102 miles an hour.
Well, you just look at how quick his arm comes through when he throws. I mean, it's almost like it's just from the glove, all of a sudden the ball's at home plate. I mean, just a quick arm.
.103. Wow. I must say that's the first time in my life I've seen 103 miles an hour.
I have to second that.
Took a little off it. It's still 1 and 2.
Very little.
Yeah. Well, he's good at changing speeds. You know, like you said, pitching is all about disrupting timing, and Mike was all ready for a 103 mile an hour fastball, and Feliz pulled it back just a tick. Slider is lined to center field, and he's lucky it's an out. No reason to throw anything but a fastball when he has velocity like that. He left it out over the plate, and Aviles had a good swipe at it. There's 1 away.
Well, he left it up. He left it up in his zone.
Word out of Cincinnati, Aroldis Chapman, the Cuban defector that was signed by the Cincinnati Reds. Royals saw him in spring training this year. In fact, he made his spring training debut against the Royals. He's been in the minor leagues all year. Now with the Reds, apparently he hit 104 on the radar gun twice.
I saw him on video this morning from his first outing. I tell you, he's got a great fastball, and his breaking ball is not too shabby either. I mean, that thing's about 88 miles an hour, and it's got some good bite to it.
Most people believe that the radar gun here at Kauffman Stadium is fast.
I think it's at least 2 miles per hour fast. At least 2.
And not because of what Feliz is doing right now, although, like I said, I've never seen 103 before. But Royals pitchers that we're accustomed to seeing throwing 91, 92 at home, you'll see 94 and 95 miles an hour. But however you want to slice it, Feliz is throwing gas tonight. Out of the Braves organization from the Dominican Republic, and in 2007 came over to the Rangers in a deal for Mark Teixeira. Slider's just a little bit inside. 2 and 2.
I think that right there is illustration of how tough it is to hit. And you got 102 mile an hour fastball, and then you drop all the way down to 84 miles an hour. That's not much time to make a decision what you want to swing at.
Blasted to right center field and deep. Cruz is at the wall and makes the catch. Again, why is Feliz throwing anything but his fastball? Twice the Royals have hit it right on the nose with him going with his second best pitch tonight.
Well, if that ball goes out of the ballpark, manager Ron Washington is going to ask the same question: is why would you get beat on your second best pitch? He leaves that breaking ball right out over the plate and just came within a few feet of trouble.
Andres Blanco just jogged in from second base to have a word with Feliz. And he may or may not have said, "Hey, man, let me tell you a little something about hitting. It ain't easy to hit 100 to 103 miles an hour.
You just don't see it. I mean, you go 95, 96. You got a lot of guys like Verlander can get 98, but you don't see that 3 digits very often at all."
Billy is just 0 for 1 tonight. He's walked 3 times. He singled in the 9th inning against Feliz on Monday.
I think one reason he might be going to it, Ron, is just command. His fastball just hasn't been in the strike zone, and maybe that's the pitch he feels like he can get over the plate. But he's got to get it. If he's going to get it over, he's got to get it down. Both those pitches have been up, and they've been hit hard.
Well, he just shook off a fastball, and he nods yes to a slider. And it's in for a strike, 2-1. So good call, Frank. That might be why he's going with that pitch. That's really the first good one he's thrown for a strike. The other ones have hung up in the strike zone.
Yeah, that one had a lot of snap to it and acted more like a slider.
And that's blasted to deep right. Back goes Cruz. He's got it up against the wall to save the game. So the Royals finally get around on one of the fastballs. And Billy Butler takes Nelson Cruz to the wall in right field. And that's how the game ends. And that's how the series ends. Royals hit 3 balls hard in the bottom of the 9th inning, but go down in order. We'll be right back.